Tamarra, round us out here. You know, you've been at IBM now, and you've been able to navigate working across generations. You've already shared with us some of the colorful ways in which that is cropping up in your work environment. Can you teach us another thing or two about what you and your colleagues have been learning along the way?
Yeah, so I had something prepared, but Carolina actually made me think of something that I've sort of embraced since being at IBM, a company that is just a lot more older people than I am. So one thing I appreciate about my generation, Gen Z, is that we're very loud. We're very outspoken about a lot of multicultural topics, inclusivity, diversity. And sometimes I find that our generation, although we're loud in the streets, we may try to tone it down in the office because we're not sure if we should speak up or if this is, not appropriate for the office. But, one thing I've appreciated about being at IBM and just embracing my voice a little bit more is that, many other generations, they may not be aware of certain terminology that may not be appropriate now. And because as Gen Z, we're embracing these topics, we're having these conversations, it's our duty, in my opinion, to speak up when we see something that isn't right or, hear something that may strike a nerve. So, even in my interactions, I've had to call things out, and that's fine. You may feel like you're stepping on a few toes, but what's right is right. And if you have the opportunity to, speak up about certain situations, I always encourage you to do so. And then lastly, in terms of navigating office where, people are much older than you, I would just recommend finding your tribe. And I don't mean this as isolate yourself, but more so just to build a community. I know it's often scary when people don't seem to look like you or think like you, but when you find people, for example, your cohort that you entered with, do happy hours with them once a month. Or if your company offers employee resource groups, do they have one for early professional hires? Maybe try to join that. And I think that'll make your time, a lot smoother because you have other people who you can talk to.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love your courage, Tamarra. I always say, if you see something, you need to say something, right? It's how you keep true to yourself. Thank you, everyone, so much. Before we break, I want to introduce Amanda Gordon. Amanda is a two-time, I believe, NYWICI scholarship winner. Is that correct, Amanda? And you're graduating this year from Tisch School of the Arts in New York City. And I think you've done, what I've learned is you've done an amazing job at finding yourself an internship at TikTok. So I'm just really thrilled to have you, Amanda. If you want to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey and how you found your way into your internship, because I'm sure everybody would love to hear that. And I think we have one question that we can surface and ask the panel.
Yeah, I'm a senior. I go to NYU and I'm studying film and Tisch. I've interned at TikTok this summer. And I just found that internship from, I'm a pretty type A person. So I have this whole spreadsheet of internships to apply to. So out of the many ones that I was applying to, I ended up getting an interview and did a couple of rounds of interviews there and got to intern there over the summer, which was really great. But yeah, the question that we had from one of the audience members is, when you are in a work setting where your backgrounds or culture may be hard for other colleagues to understand, what is the best way to approach the situation, and how can this be addressed in your workplace overall?
What a great question. I'd love to, Tamarra, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. When you are in a work setting where your backgrounds or culture may be hard for other colleagues to understand, what is the best way to approach the situation, and how can this be addressed in your workplace overall?
I think when you're in a situation where that's happening, I would honestly recommend to just provide examples. Providing support for how you feel or a point that you want to bring up always helps. So, I'm not sure that's actually happened to me yet, but in the scenario that did, I would I would bring up something that's happened in the past to try to support why I feel the way I do. Or, you know, obviously statistics are always going to help as well. So statistics, personal examples, things that have happened in the past, those are things that I always try to lean on to.
That's fantastic advice, right? Bringing it back to something very concrete that takes it out of the abstract. Does anyone else on the panel like to share on that particular question? Chardia, you're ready to go. Yeah.
I think that's a great question. I think we're in a different time now. And I think that Tamarra brought up a really great point about this generation and the space that we're in right now, especially post-COVID, you know, the death of George Floyd. There's a very different space in corporate America. And it's a space that I haven't seen throughout my entire career, where being true to yourself and being vocal about your true feelings about certain topics, being open about your culture, being open about your race, being open about things that are affecting you specifically, you know, as a Black woman, as, you know, a gay or LGBTQ member. Like, there are things that are very different, I think, right now than in years past. And I think that if you're in a space where you feel that your culture or your race or something that shouldn't be playing a significant role in a negative way is affecting your job works or affecting your role, I feel like you owe it to yourselves to speak up, to advocate for yourself, to advocate for those around you. And we're in a space right now where people have to listen, right? I think whether they're doing it for a genuine care or they're doing it because of PR and ops, like, they have to listen. So I think that take advantage of this moment and speak up. If you are in a space where you feel like you are not being seen or you are not having a seat at the table, create a seat. Speak up, talk. And I think that is very important now more than ever, because people are being forced to listen and they're being forced to kind of take a stance in one direction or the other. So if you want to be that manager that is causing an employee that kind of grief, understand that you're going to have to be able to back that up with HR and the leaders and the PR team and all of that. So I think it's now's the time to kind of be honest about those feelings and not hold back, because that's the only way you're going to really see change.
I love it. Honesty, transparency, empathy, all of these fabulous words that we as women can really excel at in the workforce. I love it. Thank you all so much for participating in this really fascinating panel. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much.